All right, today we're going to talk about something we all use pretty much every single day, but rarely stop to think about. Money. I mean, where did it even come from? We're going to trace its incredible journey, which is really a story about trust and innovation, all the way from simple bartering to the wild world of digital currencies we're in now.
But before we get into all that, just take a second and try to imagine a world with no money. No cash, no credit cards, no apps on your phone. Seriously, how would you buy your morning coffee? How would you get paid for your job? It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around, right? And that just shows you how deeply woven into our lives it is. See, money wasn't just invented. It was created to solve a really big, really specific problem.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the big headache that was the barter problem. Then we'll look at the first real solutions like metal and paper. After that, we'll get into the most important ingredient, trust. From there, it's all about banks, debt, and the crises that came with them. And finally, we'll land right here in the present day, at the digital frontier. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, first up, the barter problem. Let's take a look at what the world was like before money even existed. Okay, so if you lived in a really small village, you could probably get by just fine. You know, everyone knows everyone. I'd remember that I owe you 3 chickens for that new tool you made me. Simple. But what happens when the village grows? Suddenly there are hundreds or even thousands of people. There is just no way you can keep track of all that in your head. It becomes a total accounting nightmare. So to fix this scaling problem, people needed some kind of physical record. Think of it like a shared IOU that everyone could agree on. And this is where things like, believe it or not, whale teeth and special shells started to come into play. See, they weren't just things, they were tokens. They represented a promise, a physical record of value. And funnily enough, in creating this thing we call money, humanity basically invented the concept of debt at the same time. Okay, so that brings us to our next chapter, the first real solutions. Because, as you can probably guess, those early forms of money had some issues. And that led to the next big wave of innovation, metal and paper.
Yeah, you can see right here some of the major practical problems. I mean, think about it. Using barley as money? Good luck lugging that around. It's just too heavy. And a whale's tooth? Super valuable, sure, but you can't exactly split it in half to buy a loaf of bread. Then you've got shells, which are often just too common to hold their value. And something like rare feathers. They might be a big deal in your village, but they're probably worthless to a trader from the next town over.
And this is exactly why metal coins became the big breakthrough. I mean, they ticked all the boxes, right? They were durable, easy to carry, you could divide them into smaller pieces, and they were relatively scarce. Rulers saw this opportunity right away and jumped on it. They started stamping their faces or emblems on the coins, and that wasn't just for looks. It was basically a guarantee from the government, saying, yep, this coin weighs what it's supposed to and is worth what we say it's worth. But of course, this government control created a brand new temptation. It didn't take long for rulers to figure out a little trick. They realized they could shave a tiny bit of gold or silver off the edge of each coin, or maybe mix in some cheaper metals. Then, they could put these debased coins back into circulation at their full original value, and just like that, they were basically creating money out of thin air. Sneaky, right?
So, as trade routes got longer and deals got bigger, even carrying around bags of heavy coins became a real pain. And over in China, they came up with an absolutely brilliant solution. Merchants could just leave all their heavy metal coins safely in the palace treasury, and in exchange, they get these paper IOU certificates to carry around. This was a huge deal. It was the first big conceptual leap from money having actual physical value to having representative value.
And that idea of representative value brings us to the absolute heart of the matter, our third section, the power of trust. Because this is really the core of what modern money is all about. It's not actually about the metal or the paper, it's about what we all agree to believe in.
For, most of human history, money had what we call intrinsic value. It's pretty simple. A gold coin was valuable because it was made of gold, and gold itself is valuable. The value was literally baked right into the object. You could melt that coin down into a lump, and the gold would still be worth something.
But then, something massive happened. In the 1970s, the world completely abandoned the gold standard, that system where all our paper money was backed by actual physical gold. And ever since then, we've been living in the age of fiat money. Think about it. A $20 bill is, at the end of the day, just a piece of paper. The only reason it has value is because we all collectively trust, we believe, that the government issuing it is stable and that other people will accept it from us as payment. It's all about trust. Okay, so if it's all based on trust, how is that system actually organized? Well, that brings us to our next section: banks, debt, and crises. This is where we see how that trust gets managed and how it creates some really powerful and sometimes really dangerous situations.
You know, one of the best ways to understand the basic idea of banking comes from this tiny island called Yap. Their currency was, get this, giant, immovable stones. I'm serious. Since you obviously couldn't carry them around, the owners would just issue paper IOUs based on the value of their stone. And people traded the notes, not the stones themselves. And that right there, that's the absolute essence of banking. You take a stable asset and you use it to create credit that people can actually trade.
Modern banks today use a system that's a bit more complex, called fractional reserve banking. Let me walk you through how it works. So, step 1, you go and deposit, let's say, $100 in the bank. Now, step 2, the bank doesn't just hold on to all of it. It only keeps a small fraction, maybe $10, on reserve. Step 3, it loans out the other $90 to someone else. And here's the magic trick. That loan eventually gets deposited into another bank. And as you see in step 4, the whole process starts all over again. The banks are literally creating new money in the system. Now, the absolutely critical thing to understand here is that this entire system works because of one thing: confidence. A bank never has all of its depositors' money just sitting in the vault. So what happens if panic spreads and everybody tries to pull their money out at the exact same time? Well, that's what's called a bank run. The bank simply doesn't have the cash to pay everyone, and it collapses. And this isn't just theory. This is a big part of what we saw happen during the 2008 financial crisis.
And all of that history, from barter to banks, brings us right up to the present day. Our final section, the digital frontier. Because what's happening right now is that the very definition of what money is being challenged all over again.
Just look at this number, 2%, that's it. Today, only 2% of all transactions actually use physical coins and paper money. Think about that. The stuff we all think of as money is used in just a tiny fraction of exchanges. That technology that was once so cutting edge is basically a relic now. The vast majority of our money is nothing more than digital ones and zeros in a bank's computer system. So, as a direct response to this system that's completely centralized and controlled by governments and banks, a radical new idea popped up: cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin. It was really designed as a philosophical alternative. The whole point was to shift control away from a single central authority and give it to a decentralized network of users instead. And this really breaks down the key differences pretty clearly. With government money, right, control is centralized. The value is all about trust in that government, and the government can always print more. But with something like cryptocurrency, control is decentralized, spread out. The value is based on trusting the computer code and the network itself. And the supply, it's often fixed. There's a limited amount, and that's it.
But here's the reality check. Despite all the hype and excitement, a new currency isn't really money in the full historical sense of the word, at least not yet. A currency gets its final stamp of legitimacy when a government says, okay, you have to pay your taxes in this, or when the big banks start using it to create loans and credit. Until one of those things happens, it basically remains an alternative kind of asset.
And so that leaves us with this big, final question. When you boil it all down, the entire history of money is really just a story about what we as a society collectively decide to trust. So looking forward, what's it going to be? What will be the anchor for our trust and value? Will it be a government? Will it be a piece of technology? Or will it be something else entirely that we haven't even thought of yet? I guess only time will tell.